We're going to move on with our international press review now with Florence Villeneuve. Hello there.
Hi, Kat.
And yes, we're going to be first looking at the Daily Beast. It's coming back on the killing of 49 people in Orlando, Florida on Sunday.
That's right. FBI officials are going to investigate whether the gunman's sexuality was a motive in the shooting. You can read more about that in the Daily Beast. Omar Mateen, the report said he had actually visited the Pulse nightclub before the attack and had also used a gay dating app. So you can see here, was the Orlando killer poisoned by the closet? He may well bear out that well-worn maxim that the biggest homophobes are actually, tend to be homosexuals themselves. Now, if that's true, who knows whether or not it's true? It shows that still a lot needs to be done to help LGBT people live openly and equally.
Other suggestions that I've been seeing as well, that perhaps he was scoping out potential victims. So, yeah, the FBI investigating this. It'd be interesting to see what does come out. We're going to stay with the Daily Beast for our next article. It's also focusing on calls for the US government to end its limitations or ban even on blood donations from gay men.
That's right. What gay blood ban? You might be asking yourself that question. Turns out a lot of top lawmakers in the US are also surprised that this ban exists. You can see here, once again, the Daily Beast focusing on how Congress is clueless about this gay blood ban.
I thought it was just a restriction.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the 1980s, during the rise of the HIV epidemic, the FDA, so the Food and Drug Administration, put a lifetime ban on gay men donating blood. Now, the restriction was loosened in December 2015 to allow gay men who have been celibate for a year to donate. So that does restrict a lot of people. And gay rights activists say it's completely discriminatory because essentially straight men, even if they've had a lot of partners, they can still donate blood.
And women.
And women as well,
for that matter.
Of course. And so a lot of people are saying this is a discriminatory policy that should be lifted.
All right. Well, meanwhile, politicians have been very quick to give all sorts of reactions to the shooting. Donald Trump, we have to talk about him. He's getting a lot of criticism for how he's reacted.
That's right. Let's take a look at a cartoon in Al Watan. Actually, that's a Pan-Arab paper based in London. You can see here Donald Trump fishing for votes, essentially, in what Al Watan calls dirty water. He renewed calls to ban Muslims from migrating to the United States, increasing surveillance of Muslims. He also implied in no uncertain terms that President Barack Obama had been implicit somehow in the massacre in Orlando. Now, the president was very angry about these comments and was quick to respond yesterday. And you can see here the editorial of the New York Times focusing on this speech, which was more broadly about the U.S.'s fight against terrorism. You can see the New York Times saying these were powerful words of calm and unity that are a really powerful rebuke against Donald Trump's increasingly dangerous ravings, according to the New York Times.
Let's face it, though, people who support Donald Trump pretty much unlikely to be listening to what Barack Obama says. They might perhaps be more likely to listen to some of the Republicans who have been speaking out. We've got some of them quoted in the press today.
That's right. Several top Republicans have joined Obama in condemning Trump. Among them, the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. Let's take a look at this article here in the Washington Post. And this bipartisan outcry has really set off a wave of alarm within the Republican Party, and it highlights tensions that exist within the party between the establishment that wants to be open and the bulk of the party, which is actually backing Trump. But what's interesting is these comments by Trump are getting a lot of attention outside of the United States as well. Let's take a look at a cartoon in Corriere della Sera, the Italian paper. You can see here Donald Trump patting down Obama here, saying, "We don't trust men of color."
All right, let's stick with that Italian newspaper, in fact, and move on to our next story from here in France, that double murder just outside Paris on Monday night. This attack claimed by the Islamic State group.
That's right. We, of course, talked about this in the French press review. It's a huge story today, but it's getting a lot of attention outside of France as well. Let's take a look at this picture. This is the picture on the front page of the Corriere della Sera. You can see a police officer laying a flower there. Now, the alleged attacker had been identified as Larossi Abala, a man known by authorities under surveillance. He slipped through the cracks, as it seems did Omar Mateen. So this is Le Soir, the Belgian paper, saying there are some serious weaknesses and failures happening within our intelligence services. Now, the Wall Street Journal is focusing on this in their editorial and says, Abala was one of thousands of terrorist suspects that are on these watch lists, the Fiche S, as it's known in France. With so many people on these lists, it's inevitable that some of them will slip through the cracks. And the Wall Street Journal says the only solution is to crush the Islamic State group at home in the caliphate.
All right, we've just got time to look at quickly a photo from the Wall Street Journal. They're reporting on the labour law reform protests in France.
Pretty impressive photo of a very brave woman, it must be said. You can see this elderly woman really standing up and talking to riot police there. And you can see the sign she's holding up is "Everyone hates the labour law protest." So quite a brave woman there.
All right, those protests getting a lot of attention inside and outside of France, it seems. Thanks very much, Flo, for letting me know there, looking through the international papers for us.